I never really thought much about my weight until my early teens, when I wanted to start wearing fashionable clothes and nothing would really fit. I remember this one time my mum gave me some new jeans and I loved them. I thought they was really nice, and then I found out they were her friends and too big for him. That really hurt, realising I was bigger than an adult, because you're not meant to be. You're young. Fashion was quite a difficult thing when you start wearing new clothes, and it's all too tight for you and you don't want to admit it to yourself.
Yeah, so a typical day doing football training, which is specific for my job, would be a 2-hour training session, which is all football related and is quite hard CV work. And at the end of it, even though you've had a hard session and you come in and you're tired, and that's what kind of keeps your match fitness up. And then after that, I tend to do probably half an hour to 40 minutes in the gym maybe, and that would be kind of weights, core and body weight stuff. Yeah, so it all depends how hard I've worked on the football pitch, how much I do in the gym afterwards.
It was also in my early teens that I started getting teased for my weight. I was never really bullied, but when everybody would take the mick out of each other and jibe each other, the thing that people would highlight about me was my weight. They'd use it against me. And it was something that I can't remember being young and people using my weight against me. It never seemed to be an issue for other people until I started becoming a teenager, and then for them it was an issue, and it started becoming an issue more for me as well. I noticed my weight more. I think the fact that I was overweight was definitely down to what I was eating. I lived with my grandma for a majority of my early teens, so no one was there to really watch my diet and kind of lead me in the right direction. I played a lot of sports, but I ate so much rubbish food, so much junk food. And it was then that I started to really hate my body.
Probably 3 times a week. I try to do some kind of conditioning work in the gym. That'll kind of be about 45 minutes to an hour at a time. And then sometimes I also do some stuff at home as well, just before I kind of get in the bath or have a shower. I try to do some sit-ups and press-ups as well. So I think it all depends on my state of mind at the time. If I feel sometimes I have in a frame of mind where I want to do loads of exercise and really on it, and other times I just can't be bothered to do any. So it probably varies, but I try and get to the gym, do stuff in the gym 3 times a week, and then a little bit extra bits as well. Again, no, I think if you're in the right frame of mind, it isn't. If you focus as well, it's okay. I think it's got to be something you really want to do. There's no point doing it half-hearted. It's one of those things that a lot of people say, that once you actually start doing it, you feel good. It's just actually getting going. I'm probably the same as anyone really, in the fact that as soon as I've done it and afterwards I feel great. But it's just that kind of, you've always got 2 options: either go in the gym and train, or stay at home and do nothing else, or just sit down and watch TV. So I think it's something you've got to be quite dedicated to and focused, and almost strict on yourself as well, and just kind of force yourself to start or get going, and then you get the rewards after.
I didn't like looking at myself in the mirror and would imagine myself with this amazing body. I'd fantasize about getting thin, and I would think that I could just take off this fat suit and have a great body underneath. I would take off the fat suit and show everybody that I was an attractive person, Especially the girls that I knew, like I was always friend, never boyfriend material, and yeah, it was a real fantasy. Like it wasn't to take off my body and have a good body underneath it. It was to be attractive altogether. Like I didn't think I was attractive because I was overweight. I became my own worst enemy, really. I thought that any problem in my life could be sorted if I could only lose weight. Like I'd start doing better at school, I'd have more friends, I'd be taller. Everything was really down to me being overweight.
Upper body, definitely. When I'm in the gym, I don't really do any lower body stuff. But I'd probably say biceps, pecs, and abs are probably the main focus. 70% of it's to keep a good figure, yeah, and 30% is to keep fit and healthy. I know people that have probably got quite good figures, or not amazing, but are quite slim, but totally unfit. So it's nice to be fit and to be able to be active and do stuff as well. And I think it's always good to have a general level of fitness that you can go for a run, or you don't get tired walking around and stuff like that. So I'd never want to be like that, but most of it is, yeah, to have a good body. But it's something I've been kind of not forced into, but it's been important to me since I was probably 15 or so. Is trying to have a good body. It's something as a guy you think girls like. So I'd say 70% of it is to look good, and the rest of it's to actually be fit as well.
Trying on jeans was the worst part. I would go into the store to buy some jeans, and yeah, I'd struggle to fit into them. But I was too embarrassed to try on bigger sizes. Like I didn't want to go up to the cashier and show them that I needed a 34 or 36-inch waist, being so young. Yeah, that was like one of the really embarrassing moments of my life. So I started to wear like really baggy clothes to hide my body. Yeah, so because it was fashionable to wear baggy clothes, so I could get away with buying bigger sizes to make it seem like I didn't need them, but I still needed those baggy sizes to give me confidence.
I am body conscious. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, something I've always been aware of, and something I try to always keep on top of as well. You go through different kind of stages and mindsets, where some days you want to do loads, or say even kind of different stages during the day. Sometimes I'm like, oh, sod it, I'm not going to, I don't care, I'm just going to eat what I want and hopefully be okay. And then other days you're like, right, no, I'm going to make sure I eat healthy, and the old saying of your body is a temple. So I will definitely do exercise all my whole life, but I'll probably go through different stages of how much I do and how intense it is.
That's brilliant. Okay.
This carried on all throughout my teen years, really. At about 16, I did start to lose weight, but it wasn't in a healthy way. I would only eat one meal a day, and I started to drink heavily. Like I started to drink a lot of alcohol, in a way to kind of stop myself from eating. So I'd go out with my mates after school and drink, and then not eat. I'd just drink all the time. Even though I lost the weight that I wanted to, my psychological issues stuck with me. The issues that I had through being a big young teen wouldn't go away, and I still felt fat and unattractive. That's when I started to kind of go days without eating. and I drank way too much. A few times I passed out. I would feel faint and run to the bathroom so no one would notice that I wasn't looking my best, and then I'd kind of like faint for a couple of minutes, and I'd come through and I'd drink more water thinking no, it's just like ill or something, but it wasn't. It was to do with the weight, and I knew it inside that I wasn't eating properly, and that's why I'd pass out.
I think most people know what a healthy lifestyle is and what it involves, but then I think if you have strict rules, then if you were that strict on yourself, then you wouldn't be able to do a lot of things that your friends do. For instance, if you said you could only ever drink alcohol on a weekend, then what happens if there's something that your friends are going to during the week? It becomes a bit of a problem. And if you're that strict, then that could be quite boring because you wouldn't get to do some stuff. And the same with your food as well. If you're that strict that you can only eat certain foods on certain days, then you'd miss out. So I think the hardest part is that it can be boring having a healthy lifestyle. Even though you know how good it is for you, it can be quite boring. But again, it's all in your mindset. Some days you see a healthy lifestyle as being boring, and other days you see it as being strong. Okay, an average day, including training, would be in the morning would be a cup of green tea, a bowl of porridge with bananas and honey, and then lunch would probably be some kind of some sort of kind of pasta with meat. The chef does it at the training ground, some vegetables, beans, some potatoes as well. So yeah, quite a big lunch, which has got a lot of carbs. And then if I snack, if I'm having a good day, it'll be fruit and another green tea when I get home. Or if I'm having a day where I don't really care, it'll probably be a cup of tea and like a couple of biscuits or a bar of chocolate or something like that. And then in the evening it would be dinner would probably be something like chicken breasts with potatoes, vegetables, or something like that. That's a typical day, but obviously some days where it's healthier and some days where it's not as healthy. Not now that I've been having to keep fit for so long. I think if anything, when I finish doing what I do, I'll probably be more conscious of what I eat. But I'd probably say if I'd never been kind of used to this, having to keep fit as a job, then yeah, of course it's totally different. So yeah, I'd like to think it's kind of, when I do finish, I'll try and be even healthier, and I know I can't get away with eating what I want, and I have to be careful.
Got loads if you're done then.
I never thought I had an issue with food. I just wanted to lose weight, and it wasn't my problem with food. It was my problem with being fat. That's what it was, and eating nothing seemed like a reasonable way to lose the weight. It was like the amount of exercise I was doing wouldn't help, so just don't eat, and you're cutting out another problem. I also started to take a lot of drugs and go out on like weekend-long benders where I wouldn't eat for 2 or 3 days and just drink and dance and take pills, really. I didn't take drugs to lose weight. I enjoyed the experience, and it was just part of my life and what I was doing at the time. But I do remember thinking to myself that it was like a fun way not to eat. I'd come back on a Sunday and be like, shit, I haven't eaten for 2 days. That's pretty good. I haven't felt the need to. Yeah, that's not a nice way to think. It's not sensible.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I was a little bit younger, you didn't have to work as hard, but I've seen in the last couple of years that I do. If I don't eat as healthy, and you can notice a difference quicker than when I was younger. And you kind of think you're immune to it, and then you see younger people who are probably in better shape than you, and so that puts a little bit of pressure on you to keep fit and eat well and keep in shape and fit. So yeah, I'd say I do feel pressure to. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, to stay fit and healthy is hard work. I'd say there's only a very, very small percent of people who can eat what they want and not exercise and stay slim. And I think they're the envy of everyone else in the world. Probably, I think most other people, if you don't eat well and you don't exercise and you don't treat your body well, then obviously I think everyone knows what the consequences are. So 100% definitely harder to stay fit, but you get the benefits from doing it as well. And as I say, once everyone knows that exercising releases something, I'm not too sure, endorphins, and it makes you feel good in your mind. But again, it's just getting your mind ready to get around doing that and staying fit. And you do feel good for it, but it's very hard to do. And I mean, it's so easy to let yourself go because there's so many nice foods out there, so many nights out with your friends you can have, and it's so easy to do that rather than staying fit. I think food's one of those things that, well, for me anyway, the reason I eat nice food, I'd say 60-70% of the time is comfort. Sometimes it's great, it does taste good, but once you've eaten it, it's gone and you forget about it straight away. So I think if you can get in that routine of trying to eat well and then also having nice food as a one-off, probably a 1 in 5, 5 parts healthy, 1 part unhealthy, then that's probably quite a good balance. But yeah, I mean, very rarely do you think, oh, sod it. I think personally for my lifestyle, I'd always have to have healthy instead of unhealthy.
In my early 20s, I started to cook with my brother. I really enjoyed cooking, and yeah, because I did like the food I was making, and especially because I could control what was going into it and I knew what I was eating. It's different when you cook yourself a meal and you know everything that's gone into that meal. It's a lot easier to control portions and control yourself, really. I was eating like a lot healthier, and yeah, cooking for myself definitely helped me eat more regularly and healthier. There was still that psychological problem though. I couldn't stop feeling unattractive in my body, unhappy with myself. One thing I'd always do is grab my stomach and jiggle it. It was kind of like a way of saying to myself that, like, hey, look, you still got your stomach, you're still fat. And no matter how much weight I lost, I'd always grab at my stomach, and it would be like, it would never let me forget.
No, I think when it's at its best, I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously, I prefer it to look at its best more of the time. I mean, I can tell straight away if I know exactly what happens to your body. If you eat rubbish and sweets and high sugar stuff, then you're not as defined. Whereas if you eat healthily, then you are defined. But I think, yeah, when I'm eating healthily and in my best shape, then I wouldn't change anything. Definitely not Mr. Universe lookalike. I'd say probably someone like maybe Ryan Gosling, someone like that, who's, I think, tone instead of too much bulk is definitely, I think a lot of guys get too carried away in bulk and they just look ridiculous. I think tone, I think most people would like a kind of slight definition as well. Yeah, I think everyone's different. I've got friends who are tall and slim with not much definition and their body looks good, but I've also got friends who are probably got more definition and bulk and they look good as well. So I think it's what looks good on you. But yeah, I'd say kind of perfect body is pecs, biceps, abs, but not too much of it.
The strangest thing was, and it's kind of funny as well, is looking at thin people and wondering how they did it. Like there was some kind of trick to it that fat people never learn at school. It wasn't jealousy, it's depression. You're depressed that you don't look like them. You're not jealous that they are who they are. You don't want them to be fat as well. You're just depressed because you can't be like that, and no matter how hard you try, you're not getting there.
On one hand, you should be body conscious because if you lived a perfectly healthy lifestyle, then you'd be in good shape, and you wouldn't be totally, obviously ripped, but you'd be pretty in good shape. But then at the same time, if you do live like a monk or too strict on yourself, then you don't have too much fun. So it's one of those things that people who might not be in their amazing shape might say, yeah, everyone's too body conscious, and then people who have got a good body probably say no. So it's a hard one to say, but no, I'd say it's pretty much a good balance. yeah, I think there's a mixture of people out there, so it shows that it's a good balance.
When I was 14, I was 14 stone, a size 36 waist, and I hated my body. At 21, I was a size 30 waist, 10.5 stone, and I still hated my body. People told me I was skinny and thin, and I just couldn't believe them no matter what they said. I couldn't see it in myself, and that's the worst thing about it. My parents even thought like I was addicted to heroin at one point. I laughed it all off, not realising that I was actually a concern to my friends and family. You think it's only something that you notice in, but it's not. They notice it as well.
No, I was always quite a lot, but I was so active and had such a high metabolism that I never had to worry about it when I was younger. It's probably, like I say, the last year or two that it started to become more of a fact that I've got to work on it a bit more. 16 probably, when I went into full-time work as being a sportsman. That's when you have to kind of work on it day in, day out. But actual gym stuff, probably not heavy stuff until I was 17 or 18. And that's when you kind of start. So yeah, adult it's definitely hard as an adult. Again, you kind of have so many different arguments for it. On one hand, you could say, well, as an adult, if you're waking up at 6 and have to go to work, why don't you just wake up at 5 and have a running machine in your house and do that before you went to work? But sometimes that's totally unrealistic as well, that you need your sleep. So I think it's very hard for adults to keep fit in this modern life, especially when you're working long hours. It can almost be impossible. But again, it's all about your frame of mind, and I think most of the time, where there's a will, there's a way, because a lot of people do have spare time in their day. It's just how they choose to use it.
Over the years, I became more stable in myself, exercising properly and more regularly, eating well and not being stupid with my diet. But eating has and always will be a massive issue for me. All the bad food out there doesn't help the issue, and I constantly struggle. It's difficult to be healthy in this modern day, and no matter what they do, they're not actually trying to fight it. They need to educate kids more to the dangers of eating unhealthy, really. And it's not worth doing it by the time that they're a teenager and they're already getting abused and they've already got these psychological issues. You've got to talk to them early on and show them that there's a different way. You've got to educate them in healthy food. I still hate my body to this day, and the mirror is never going to be my friend. But I'm happier in myself, and I don't think I'll ever get over my psychological issues towards weight, but I am a happier person now.
Probably got enough time.
Yeah.
Is that alright?
Yeah.